let's talk details. So when you're doing details, we're actually just going to start with 3 basic blocks: a half slab, a fence, and a trapdoor. And we are going to pair that with something we mentioned in our palette video, which is our neutral green. That is our landscaping blocks, because in a building, landscaping is technically a neutral color. So you can pair it with a lot of different things and get away with it. Here I've built just a very basic wall and a door, just kind of mixed in some different blocks with a gray tone here. And then what I've taken is I've taken our half slab, our trapdoors, and our fences, and I've just framed out the door using these blocks. And already, just from our beginning step to this step, we've already added a lot of interest to our door frame. And we can use these same blocks in other viewpoints or entryways like windows, which you can see here. And we can use them both to fill, or we can use them to frame. And just these simple adjustments, just these 3 different block types, can add a lot of interest and detail to our buildings. But we're going to go to the next step, and we're going to add in our neutral greens. So you can see here, I basically just splashed this onto the wall. I do have some different elevation, which I've created with both my hanging plants and with my leaves here. And then some nice mossy blocks, which come with different cobblestone or stone combinations, which I appreciate. And then going to the next step and adding that in with our door frame, which we can see here, has really taken what was a very basic door, which, to flashback and let you see it, it's really added a lot of interest to this wall and this door area. This all comes from using 3 central blocks and your neutral green. But I'm going to take that a step further for you, because while we have our half slab, our fence, and our trapdoor, we also have 3 more blocks that can help us to add further detail: our stair, our button, and our gate. With these 6 blocks, we can add an even greater level of interest to our building. So I'm doing the same thing where I'm just framing out a viewpoint here. So I have some stone buttons that I've added. I have some stone half slabs here on the bottom. I've combined my fences and my gateway, and again, half slabs going up on the top. And I did throw a lantern there just to add some extra fun, but that's all I've used. Now here I've combined it with my neutral greens, and all I've done is I've added my landscaping and those 6 blocks that I have shown you. So how do you practically use these? A great way to go about this is to think about shapes when you're framing. So putting a arch around your door is a great way to help you think about where should my details go. Putting a square around your window helps you to think about, how am I framing this window? Where should I put my details? And then you can end up with a very uniform design. If you're having something like a corner, you might want to think about something we've discussed in a previous video, that is getting rid of your straight lines. And a corner of a building can give you a hard line. So to create a curve around a corner using your details that kind of flows around both sides is a nice way to add details to a corner of a building. But what should you do when you want to add real life objects? Well, a good way to think about it is by thinking about shapes. Like a lamppost is a straight line with a block on top, or a straight line with a block to the side. You can then take all of the blocks that give you your straight line or give you your square, and you lay them out and you combine them together to get your shape. This is a building that we've looked at in our palette video. You can see the half slabs here, the trap doors going along the top, the fences, and then again the fence, trap doors, and half slab. Those are only 3 blocks. And with the landscaping that I've added, besides the lantern, those are just our 3 basics that are adding detail to this building. Besides, again, the lantern and some dripstone that I've added, I have a landscaping here through some various colors. I got my fencing on both sides. I have buttons that kind of add detail to my door, and fencing more on top. Thankfully, this building has some very detailed blocks. In this build, besides the sign and the lantern, I have half slabs going into other half slabs and creating a curve, that curve around the corner that I was talking about earlier. I also have fencing, which are filling my windows, which you will see here. I have trap doors up here to kind of add additional framing, and then buttons going along that help me to add transition in my palette. And then, of course, our landscaping at the bottom. So pretty simple. And these are things that you can do. You take your 3 blocks, your half slab, your fence, your trapdoor, and your greenery, and you can already upgrade your building with a lot of interesting details. You can do that by framing out areas like viewpoints or entryways, and that's a good way to get your mind around it. You combine that with your greenery to add interest to your build. And if you're wondering, now how do I shape this? Think about putting squares and arches by putting curves on corners. And eventually you'll realize, man, I know that a half slab looks good here. I know that a fence looks good here. And it will get easier and easier for you to do. Join me again next time where I'm going to talk about organics. How do you create things like plants or animals or otherworldly oddities? I'll see you then.